Yo, what is going on, guys? We are back today for a very different video idea, but I thought it was going to be a ton of fun because 2025 has been a very good year so far of champion releases, and we got October coming up next month, which is my favorite month of the year for a couple of reasons. One of the biggest reasons, my birthday is next month, and my birthday is only 2 days away from Halloween, which is also, of course, in October, what it's known for, the spooky month. So I always love when we get, the spooky October Halloweeny champs in game. So today we're going to try to be predicting who's going to be coming next month. So, this is just a look at the 2025 champs we have gotten so far this year. Man, there's been so many good ones. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. I've been reading about some of these characters, and man, they sound really cool. So up first, I've heard a lot of people in the community talking about this champion, and I think this is the most likely addition to the game for October, and that is Dracula. So, dude, Dracula, we all know Dracula is just the vampire, right? But what I don't know is Marvel's Dracula. I'm not really familiar at all with that version. I'm a little bit familiar with the DC version. I remember watching a Batman, was it a movie? Part of the show, where he had to fight Dracula, and his name was Alucard, and Batman put it in the mirror. It's oh, it's Dracula. I still remember that as a kid, but I don't remember ever seeing Dracula in anything Marvel media. And so I started to read his origins in the Marvel. Dude, they need to make a whole series about this guy. He sounds so interesting. So he was born in Transylvania as a nobleman, and then eventually him and his brother got kidnapped when they were going to war with the Ottoman Empire or something. His brother died. He managed to make it out, and then he ran away for many years, and then he came back and threw himself at the new people who took over, threw them at their mercy, hoping to legitimize their regency. So this guy took Dracula under his wing and taught him the art of war, and he married a chick that he despised. And then eventually the guy who took him under his wing died. So then at that time, Dracula considered all of his obligations fulfilled. So he expelled his wife and their daughter, the wife that he hated, supposedly. And then he married the woman that he did love, sired a son. And then everyone who kind of went after his father and had his father killed, he killed all of them. He destroyed them all, anyone who had anything to do with it. And then eventually he was defeated in battle. And this first thing says is defeated by a Turkish warlord, which, is not really the most interesting thing. But then, here, other accounts suggested that he defeated the Turkish army. This is my headcanon. He defeated the Turkish army, but he was mortally wounded by the nearly immortal mutant En Sabah Nur, which is Apocalypse, and his band of Dark Riders. So that's the headcanon I'm going with. Dracula freaking beat all of his ops, but then he had to go head-to-head with freaking Apocalypse just after winning his war, and he got sauced. That's a story I like. But then they sent him to Romania for healing, but this chick was a secret vampire, and she turned Dracula into a vampire as well. So that's just his origin story. That's just scratching the surface of Dracula, man. I found that such an interesting read. They need to make a whole long television Disney Plus series about Dracula, dude. I would love that. Starting in 1400 AD or something, just way in the past. That would be so freaking cool. But all right, let's get to the good stuff. His powers and abilities. So the gray stuff is his pre-vamp ratings, and then the blue is when he becomes a vampire. So he's not the most intelligent guy. He's pretty strong, fairly fast, extremely durable, and he's got energy projection. His fighting skills are pretty high. It even said that he is very good with a sword. I remember reading that somewhere in here. I don't know where. But like, yeah, he's got immortality. He's gonna have crazy. He could easily have crazy regen in game. He could have some type of immortality. They say like when you kill Dracula, like there's a bunch of ways to bring him back to life. Even if you stab him in the heart with a stake, they said like you can put him in a coffin with his ashes and dirt from his homeland, and he'll heal from that, which is crazy. So yeah, I think Dracula would be a very good addition to the game. Oh, this is an interesting tidbit. So Dracula is the most powerful vampire that has ever been encountered. When fighting Wolverine, Colossus, and Nightcrawler, the latter stated that Dracula's raw power was greater than theirs. Dracula sounds like he'd be an absolute beast in game, dude. And I would, as far as class types go, I would imagine. So we already have two vampires in game technically, and that's Blade and Morbius. They're both a little special. So Morbius is science and Blade is skill. I don't think Dracula would make sense in either of those classes. I think Mystic would make the most sense for Dracula. And we only have one Mystic champ released all year. So yeah, I think if we get Dracula, I think we're likely getting Dracula, and I think if we do get Dracula, he's very likely to be a Mystic champion. So that's my first guess. I'm locking that guess in. The second guess, I'm not too sure about, but I feel fairly confident in Dracula. And just hearing how much the community's been hyping him up and be like, "Oh, we're gonna get Dracula." I don't know. The community's usually onto the right thing. So I feel like I'm gonna trust the community, and we're gonna say Dracula as the first champ. But man, there's some other really cool champs too. So this was just doing some research for some other Halloween type Marvel characters. I found this guy. So his name is Sleepwalker, and dude, he looks incredible. I would love to see the MCOC art team design this looking champ. Man, he looks good. I really like the fit. He looks pretty cool. So this dude's name is Sleepwalker. So let's talk about Sleepwalker a little bit. So I'd never heard of this guy before, and then I started reading his info, and he's basically a part of the Dream Police. They apprehend any beings that invade the sleeping minds of humans. But he was tricked by his longtime foe named Cobweb, and he got trapped basically in the mind of a young college student named Rick. And basically, he could only come out when Rick was asleep. So he could talk to Rick when he's sleeping, and eventually they made a deal on agreeable terms of cohabitation, so that when he's sleeping, I think Sleepwalker comes out. The name Sleepwalker, it makes a lot of sense now as well. And I was saying that, I remember reading something that, Nightmare. I remember when Doctor Strange 2 hadn't come out yet, and they kept saying like Nightmare was going to be the villain of that. I'm still not that familiar with Nightmare. Speaking of Nightmare, we could be getting Nightmare added to the game for Halloween. There's always a chance of that. Or like if this guy Nightwalker or Sleepwalker and Nightmare came together, that would also make a lot of sense. I feel like maybe we would get both of them for a Halloween event, but I don't know. I still feel like we're getting Dracula, so I don't know. But yeah, Nightmare was considered one of the deadliest enemies of the Sleepwalkers. Interesting. But yeah, let's talk about this guy's powers and abilities a little bit here. So, 4 in intelligence, 4 in strength, 3 in speed. Again, 6 and 6 in durability and energy projection, and a 4 in fighting skills. So his stats are, I think they're actually better than Dracula's here. Yeah. They're literally the exact same, except Sleepwalker has 1 additional point in intelligence. So, like, I'm really into power scaling, like super into power scaling, but these are characters that I'm not familiar with. I don't know their feats in the comic books, so this is really all I have to compare them. I feel like Dracula should be more powerful than this guy, but the power grid attributes here on Marvel Fandom Wiki stats are equalized. Sleepwalker's actually ahead. So the power scaler in me is like, damn. Yeah, dude, I just... Sleepwalker is honestly my hope because I just think he looks so cool. I'm a sucker for a cool looking champion. So yeah, and let's talk a little bit about his power. So he's got superhuman strength, durability, reflexes. He can catch a knife in his fingers and individually warp multiple bullets from an Uzi. Wow, that sounds cool. Warp gaze. His only offensive power. With this vision-based power, Sleepwalker could alter the shape of physical objects and twist them to his purposes. Sleepwalker initially demonstrated this power by using it to distort a sidewalk to capture a criminal. Huh. His control is to the level where he can fashion an entire Spider-Man costume from raw fabric while having no knowledge of sewing. He has stated that in the Mindscape his control is even finer and as sharp as a scalpel. Huh. He sounds pretty interesting. Ooh, he's got a healing factor. He can heal from any injury by absorbing mental energy. So maybe he'll have some type of health stealing ability if he was added to game. I feel like he would definitely be immune to reverse controls. And he would probably apply reverse controls like as a defender. That would make total sense for this guy. What does it say? Mental power amplifier. As a denizen of the Mindscape, Sleepwalker can enhance mental powers from psionics and magic alike by his mere presence. During the Infinity War, Professor X, Jean Grey, Psylocke, and Moondragon were all able to use him as a transmitter to infect the entire population of Earth and resist Mega's control. Doctor Strange mental magic is similarly enhanced by having Sleepwalker nearby. So, like, dude, he could have, like, some crazy synergies for Jean Grey, Professor X. Oh, man, that could be really cool. Oh, what if he had, like, some type of pre-fight? That could be pretty sick, dude. Man, the more I read, the more I like the sound of this guy. Oh. We get Dracula and Sleepwalker. Bro, I'm a prophet. Alright, let's talk about our next champion that it could be, and that's Hallows Eve. So this is a champion that I had never even heard about before doing some Halloween Marvel character research. But yeah, she's a female character that was dating a Spider-Man clone, Ben Reilly, from my understanding. And then she ended up getting powers from a demon that lives in the Limbo dimension. Who do we know that is familiar with Limbo? That would be Magic. So a demon from the Limbo dimension gave Hallows Eve her powers. Or so I've read on here. Another thing said Madeline Pryor gave her powers. So, but I mean, Madeline Pryor is just another version of Jean Grey, essentially. And this has been the year of Jean Grey. We've gotten Jean Grey, and we've gotten Dark Phoenix, and we've gotten buffed OG Phoenix. So, I don't know. This character could make a lot of sense. And so basically, let's talk about her a little bit. Her origin story was kind of weird. Apparently, she was abused by her father, and then she killed him in self-defense. Then she fled, changed her identity. She met Ben Reilly. They began a relationship. They told each other their secrets. But then some dude named Kane started screwing everything up, and then they faked her death, but she wasn't dead, and then yada yada, a bunch of other weird stuff kind of going on. Then eventually she got her powers though, and her powers, man, are super weird. So essentially she has a bunch of masks, and depending on the mask that she puts on, she gets a different power. So they're endowed with the magic of the finger of Sim. So this Sim guy, I believe, is the demon from the Limbo dimension. So yeah, Sim here, a formidable demon from Limbo, one of the realm's most notorious entities. So yeah, that's a thing. I never heard of this dude before. Man, she looks really cool. Definitely fits, the Halloween vibe. Looking at her, like, she reminds me a little bit of Hobgoblin. Oh, she has a Funko Pop? That's cool. I didn't know she had a Funko Pop. I love Funko Pops. Oh, she has, like, the Mephisto mask right there. Dude, she looks really cool. I don't know. This just strikes me as a total kabam type of champion that they'd add. I don't know why. But the only thing visually, I think she'd look so good in game, and I could totally see Kabam adding her. But, like as an actual champion and as far as abilities go, I'm not really sure. Like, if I was a designer, this would be such a weird champ to make with all these different masks. Like, for example, she has a mask of Frankenstein's monster that can grant her the abilities of Frankenstein's monster. An insect mask inspired by the human fly that can grant her abilities of human fly. A mask of a werewolf that can grant her the appearance and abilities of a werewolf. So, like, I don't know how Kabam would really do it. Spider-Man mask gives her web slinging and the powers of Spider-Man. A slasher mask grants her the power of a horror movie slasher. Hulk mask grants her greatly increased strength. What? Captain America mask makes her taller, gives her a shield, and grants her enhanced strength. Bro, what? This sounds insane. This is so weird. This is so weird. But she does fit the Halloween vibe. Alright, so that's Hallows Eve is her name. Hallows Eve. Super weird name. Alright, and then so Hobgoblin is also a prediction, of course. But like, that's so mainstream. You know, I'm trying to think super outside of the battle realm right now. And so the final pick I got here is Blackheart. So I've actually knew this guy. I mean, I wouldn't have known him just by looking at a picture of him. But I remember this guy from the original Ghost Rider movie. He's totally in that. He looks nothing like this, though. So if we got this version of Blackheart in game, that'd be insane. So it's basically, I believe, Mephisto's son. I didn't even really read his thing here because I kind of already had a little bit of knowledge on him. But yeah, Mephisto sent Blackheart to Earth. His powers diminished to make him learn humility. Blackheart returned to Christ's crown and lured the Ghost Rider, the Punisher, and Wolverine to the town in an attempt to corrupt them. The group eventually followed Blackheart into his own realm for a final confrontation. He would once again attempt to commission their services, using them to help finally destroy Mephisto and take over his portion of hell. Wow, this sounds like a very interesting story. Dude, we like, where the MCU would be doing so much better if they like tackled these types of stories on these types of characters. Like Dracula, Blackheart, like dude, this would be so interesting. Like, imagine seeing Nicolas Cage, John Bernthal, and why can't I think of the actor? But Hugh Jackman. Imagine seeing those three pulling up into hell to fight Mephisto. Like, how freaking hype would that be, man? So yeah, Blackheart I think would just be a really cool addition. Him and Dracula dropping together or something. Man, that'd be crazy. Let's see what is... Oh my. Yeah, bro. His stats are stacked. He's got 7, 7, 7, 7. The power scaler in me is like, yes, bring this guy into MCOC, bro. Damn. All 7s here, dude. That's impressive. He's got some kind of magic. So yeah, definitely think he would be a Mystic champion, for sure. He's got Hellfire. I really... would love to see Hellfire as like a new effect, different from Incinerate, different from Nova Flame, Hellfire, and like the buffed Ghost Rider could totally get an ability like that as well. Generate powerful blasts of mystical energy. Yeah, there's no way he'd be anything other than Mystic Champ, such as a defensive golden colored aura. This guy's gonna be aura farming, bro. Wait, something about talking about Dr. Voodoo here. And Patriot. But, yeah, dude. So, I would say those are the 4 champions that I'm personally kind of hoping for and predicting for the upcoming October champion release. Just to recap, we have Blackheart, the son of Mephisto, who would most likely be a Mystic champ. We have Hallows Eve, who's a very odd character who uses masks. You can see here, this is a bunch of her masks. That looks like a Thanos mask. How did you get that? A Thanos mask. So, yeah, I guess she would probably be Mystic as well. It's like all these champs are going to be Mystic. But yeah, so that's number 2. And then we got Sleepwalker, who I think, yeah, would also have to be a Mystic. Can't really see him being anything else. And this dude just looks wild. Love the look here. And then we, of course, have Dracula, the OG vampire that everyone knows, that I think would be pretty sick in-game. So, yeah, guys, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this video. Drop a comment who you think are going to be dropping for Halloween for the month of October. Let me know if you guys have any ideas. Let me know if you guys think on the money with any of these predictions, or if you think I'm way off. Let me know in the comments down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed today's video. And, of course, as always, if you're ever on the web store and you're making a purchase and you want to support your boy Lagacy, all you got to do is type in the creator code LAG, all lowercase, and your next purchase will go directly to support me, a small portion of it. All right, guys, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed this, something a little bit differently, but I had a ton of fun making it. It's really cool just, like, researching the Marvel lore as well. Like, there's so much I don't know, and there's so much the MCU could be tapping into, man. It must be really frustrating as, like, a hardcore Marvel comic book fan to be seeing the MCU flop. It must be really brutal. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great, wonderful day. Peace. Or a spooky day, I should say.